stop listening right in the middle. It's like,
Sit back and enjoy the
That's
ride,
what
boys.
Tess needs to get. Tess needs to get her own headphones for the house.
I have them. I
And
have
then
to
she
find
just
them.
puts them all while he's talking. But like, no, we're fixing to go on air.
yep.
Even though she's in the kitchen cooking dinner.
Right. He's just going blah, 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 blah. I just put my headphones on. I'm like, that's it. Not
I
listening.
can't hear you. I have a banana in my ear.
Is that you?
That was me.
All right. That was
playing
cool
with
as
me.
hell. Okay, welcome, all two of you who are watching right now.
Ooh.
How are
Good.
you? Yeah, so I wrote, we're not getting any younger, people. all
What?
right?
Yes, we are.
No,
Yes,
we're
feel
not.
like
we
I
are.
am.
We are.
We're really not.
Mm-hmm.
No, Tess is. I haven't
Yeah,
figured that out yet.
I want it. Yeah, I want her
What's-
special.
It's that special cream that we have for her.
Yes.
It's the anti-aging
Retinoic acid.
cream. Oh, okay. Special. All right.
And she's shaking her head. Don't give away my secrets.
Don't give it away.
give it away.
I don't use any of that retinol stuff. Oh, she
She's
speaks.
got
She
drawers full of it.
Wow.
speaks.
I heard her right in the headphones.
Oh, we know. Hey, Linda Ball.
I
Yeah,
don't.
I
That's
don't.
how she said. I don't.
Normally, she doesn't even
That's okay.
speak on the show.
Well, actually, when we're out the show, she overdoes it. So
Oh,
she's
I know.
one of those. It's like a kid that
I
took
know.
a long time to learn to speak, and then for the rest of their lives, they
Can't
never
shut 'em
shut up.
it's getting so
That's
like a
good.
6-minute ride home, if that.
Oh, 6-minute ride?
I think
Oh, I'll
it's
be
the-
walking. It's going to look more like water skiing. And here's the rope.
Wow, this new work they're doing over I-4 is really.
Yeah, get ready for the bumps.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so hi Iggy. Iggy says I am going to go to Dr. Klein. Lee, I know Lee as a moisturizing male.
A moisturizing male.
A moisturizing male
I'm not sure what that means.
he takes care of his skin and such.
Oh, good. Okay.
So he actually is going to have some questions for you tonight, I'm sure.
Fair enough.
So anti-aging, how do we slow the process? It's not about reverting it.
Just remember this.
But-
It puts lotion on its skin.
It puts the lotion in fast. You stop.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right, 16 seconds, you weirdo. All right, we're going to start this show off right. I hope I have enough elements in here. Oh, well.
There's enough tape in the machine.
Is there? We don't use tape anymore.
Oh, man. It just dated me.
Live from the Connections Studio Suites, it's Connections. Connections is relationship radio.
Hey kids, it's that time again. Hi, I'm Melissa Fox along with hashtag Lizzie said what?
That is me, boy.
Girl. And amen, a woman. Oh Lord.
That's it.
A moron.
There you
Yes.
Dr. David Klein is with us tonight,
go.
sir.
Take 2 aspirin. I'll see you in the morning.
Okay. Does that hold?
No. Just dates me again.
Okay, way to go. He's dating himself tonight.
I know.
No worry. So by going to Dr. Klein, Iggy, who's now watching us on our Facebook live feed, because we broadcast on the social media as well, Iggy said that he's getting younger because he goes to Dr. Klein.
Ooh.
Is Iggy, has he found a fountain of youth that you're not letting us know about?
Yeah. It's called Stages of Life Medical Institute,
Oh.
and it's in Longwood, Florida.
Huh?
And if you notice a little frog in my throat, it's because I have a cold.
And he's right here beside
But I'm
me?
right here with everybody else.
Are
but
you
I
sure
tested
it's a
myself.
cold?
Yeah, I
Are
tested
you sure it's a
myself.
cold?
I tested
What
myself
about one
for
of the
COVID.
little, what about those false tests?
I tested
they got
myself
out
for
there?
COVID. It's there. And in fact, I tested myself twice. I tested myself again today, just in case I was wrong before.
Check all the orifices to make sure they
Easy.
cannot
But I
make
could use some help.
It's a kid's show. I mean, an adult's show.
No, if you don't check them
biscuits.
all, it doesn't
Really?
work.
Okay,
But
so-
just because COVID is out there doesn't mean that influenza isn't, and a dozen or so other viruses. So, the incidence of reported influenza is now down to 1/100th of what it was last year. What does that tell you? It tells you they're not testing. So if you go to some of these doc in the boxes and ERs and whatnot, they'll check you for COVID because they know they're going to get paid for it. Then you ask them when it's negative, can you check me for influenza? They'll say no. No. Well, why not?
would
Well, because
you?
we don't.
So I've got a question for you.
Go for it.
With all this COVID stuff going on, does any of the side effects cause you to age?
Influenza,
Yeah.
COVID, or the treatments?
All of the
We're
above.
staying at home.
Well, you know,
Oh, yeah.
there are two or three options here. Okay, you can either get the disease and die, okay, in which case you won't age. Not a bad option, right?
No, that's a
Okay.
horrible
You
option.
can get the
It's an
disease, survive, and do just fine, which happens to 98.8% of the people.
Does that do anything to your skin?
Less than 1% ends up, with death. That really is an anti-aging approach. All right. And then there's a small fraction of people that end up with these. They call them long haul sufferers.
Right.
These are periviral infections. My favorite one. Okay. Well, there's an incidence of Bell's palsy. That's where the face droops, usually one side. It makes you look kind of funny, unless you're the Joker. So you're going to look a little bit peculiar. 1 in 30,000. Now think about that for a second. That's pretty rare. Okay, 1 in 30,000. 1 in 1,000 you die. Okay, but it's 1 in 10,000 in the general population for Bell's palsy. So it's actually less than the general population, which means it's a statistical anomaly. It makes not, so somebody along the line somewhere ended up with Bell's palsy, and they would have anyway. Okay, in Skinnerian psychology, that would be called, a superstitious behavior, a paired stimulus. It's superstitious.
Well,
So what do you do?
Yeah,
Okay, there were elderly people from as far north that I could see into Tennessee in Volusia County lined up all night last night to get these COVID tests. Think about that. So your grandma and her walker was in line for 19 hours to get this COVID test, and you're worrying about, well, gee, I don't know if I want to take it because I read on a blog someplace that there are nanobots in there. Okay. I don't think anybody's going to complain too loudly if you don't take it. All right? I got mine done. Okay, I waited, got it done, got my butt kicked for the rest of the afternoon because it put me back almost 2 hours. Why? Because I had to travel from my office to Oviedo. That takes a half an hour. Took 30 minutes to get it done. Kudos to the Seminole County Health Department because they just crushed it in terms of efficiency. I've never, in the length of time I've lived in this state, which is 20 years now, 21 years, have I seen any state or county agency do anything as well as it could be done in private practice. At this time they did. They got me in and out of there in 15 minutes flat. And I had to sit down for 15 so they'd make sure I wouldn't croak. So, whoop, out you go. And they made me my appointment for 4 weeks. They didn't give me a lollipop.
Oh, come
Okay.
on.
Man.
All right? So,
Really?
Yeah.
That's where we want to be when Jesus comes, not
Yeah.
giving out lollipops.
Yeah, well, you know how it goes. So yeah, and do I feel? What people say? Well, what do you feel? What do you feel? You had the COVID. What do you feel? And I thought about it. You know what I feel? I feel lucky. Okay, if that's an emotional sense, I feel lucky. Okay, to have gotten it done, or be in process of completing it. So if you're out there and you're thinking about it and you're deciding, well, do I really need to do this? Take your time, because there are people that are really more concerned than you are that are going to take your spot in line so fast your head's going to swim, because they'll release 2,500 studies for inoculations for the week, and they'll fill up in 30 minutes or less.
Oh, less than that.
Okay, they're gone. Okay, so if you think that anybody really cares that you don't want to do it because you think that you're going to get nanobots, go for it.
So your anti-aging hint in this segment is to get the vaccine,
Yeah.
so that you don't die.
No, that's the first anti-aging strategy: is don't die
Don't die.
unnecessarily.
Okay, I just want to bring it back around here
Don't
for those of you just
take
tuning in late.
Unnecessary risks.
Anti-aging, okay,
Yeah.
is if you don't take the vaccine, you die, and well, you won't age
Yeah.
anymore. But this is really not the solution.
No, it's not
yeah.
the solution. This is not a matter of Portrait of Dorian Gray, where the picture gets younger and younger.
Oh,
and
look
younger.
how you would explain it for
I had
someone
to,
just
because-
in case.
Just in case, because people yell at me when I don't. Pop culture back in the
Lizzie
19th
thanks
century.
you.
Yeah,
know
it
what I
was me. Thank you.
All right. So what is anti-aging all about? And the first thing is restoration of balance. Why? Because when you're a kid, when you're 20 years old, when you're 19 years old, when you're 15 years old, 25 years old, statistically, chances are you were healthier then than you are now. Why is that? And why is it that you have a statistical likelihood of getting worse with health as time and age goes on? Okay, and the answer will surprise you. and we're going to get into this in just a few minutes. We're going to start with nutrition. Okay, we're going to start with nutrition. Then we're going to go move into intervention, and then prevention.
Wait, you can intervene in
Absolutely.
the aging process?
Yeah, you can't make people
No.
chronologically younger.
Lies.
But what you can do is you can improve their performance, you can improve their looks, you can improve their sense of well-being.
Okay.
I see.
So
I
my
see.
dad was 92 when he passed away. And when he was 90, as a physician, I could do this. I said, Dad, would you like me to get you some Viagra? Because he was not a nursing, but one of these
He was working
retirement
at the
communities.
villages.
Oh man,
You know it.
He was
had a
he was
golf
doing
cart
it.
will travel.
This guy, because there are nine women for every guy. Okay,
It's, yeah.
so Dad, would you like some Viagra? And he looked at me.
I'd have been insulted.
He said, "Hell no, that's for old people." I thought that he's my hero.
Yep.
And we're going to get into what you can do, what my dad did before the doctors killed him, and we'll see what we can do for you.
It's amazing how those...
And then nutrition.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does nutrition have to do with it? There are things that you're putting on your plate that are making you sick.
Yeah.
There are things you're putting on your plate that are making you age faster. And you'll be surprised at what they are. Some of them sound an awful lot like what we used to call old wives' tales. You can't say that anymore because people will
Some
think you're being
old
sexist.
wife will get upset.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, somebody will get upset. So we will not call it an old wives' tale. I don't know what we'll call it, but these are the sorts of things that we were told when we were kids, and as it turns
Lore.
out, so many of them were true. And we'll take them one at a time.
Lore.
Lore. Yeah, we're going to lure you into something that's different. Oh, lore.
Lore, not L-U-R.
Well, it all depends.
Now, well, yeah, it could be both. You're right. So, okay. All right, here's the deal, folks. This is Connection Show. We like to dance. We like to sing. We like to talk about things that are important. And right now we're going to take a break. So support our sponsors like Stages of Life Medical Institute.
Get healthy.
Get healthy, get well, get younger. Yes. StagesofLifeMedicalInstitute.com for more information on what Dr. Dave does. Quick break, and then we'll be right back with those tips.
Yeah.
Connections is Relationship Radio.
Breakfast time! I made your favorite.
Look, it's a manwich.
That's an sandwich.
More than a meal.
What's wrong with the stupid people? It's like they're idiots or something. Big fat friggin' dumbass idiots.
say
Connections,
you're a
broadcasting live.
Yeah, I got
every
two
night
pretty
at
girls
10
on either
Eastern.
side of me. That makes me a manwich.
Welcome back to Connections. Yeah, surrounding yourself with pretty girls, does that make you look older?
No, it makes me feel happier.
Okay, that's all right.
It makes you look younger.
Makes me
Yeah,
happy.
that's Dr.
In
David
a special
Klein.
kind of way.
You know, aesthetically, Dr. Klein has a lot of really good toys at the old institute.
We can't talk about the toys.
No. Okay.
No, we can talk about the equipment.
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, so before we went to the break, you were saying something about anti-aging tips,
Yes.
things that we need to not put in our mouths. You used to put it on our plate. I say if
Oh.
it's on my plate, it's not necessarily going in my mouth.
True.
Yeah. Okay. Well, nutrition is a funny kind of a thing. Okay. You can eat that which you wish. There are all choices out there, and nobody's going to punish you for making stupid decisions. But when the day is done and everything is totaled up, you start to reflect back on the ages, and you go, you know something? I wish I had done this differently. That is not the time to be doing it. So it's called life's trajectories. What you want to do is you want to deal with things before the arrow is coming down. You want to be able to shoot that arrow, that's longevity, as far as you can. You level that bow and arrow at 45 degrees and you let her rip. If you lower your aim, what happens? Right. You end up going for, you just don't go as well.
In the dirt.
So,
Right.
in the Air Force, what was it? Aim
Pretty
high.
much.
Okay. Well, there's a big deal to that. You just don't aim straight up. Okay. So, in the Army, okay, if you have a mortar and you aim straight up, it does not end so well for anybody. Okay.
Yeah.
I hate when that happens. So, well, nobody told me there was nothing on here that said don't aim straight up. So, but the trajectory is very important. So how do you change the trajectory? Well, you influence those things you can influence. You can't change your parents. You can't really change your genetics, although you can influence them. But you can change that which you ingest or those things with which you associate. So if you want to age yourself fast, okay, there's a couple of things you can do, okay, and here's how you do it. If you don't like somebody, advise them strongly to smoke lots of cigarettes.
Oh,
Okay, because it'll make their skin just look so nice and crinkly. It'll make you look distinguished. All right? It'll make your chest expand. You'll start looking like you're more physically fit.
Stop.
There were Chesterfield
Stop.
ads in the 1940s and 50s that said, make your chest bigger, smoke Chesterfields. Okay? Well, it didn't work out so well for lots and lots of folks. What else can you do? You can eat lots and lots of sugar. Okay? And what does that do? It increases your chance of cancer. You develop cancer, you have an increased risk of dying.
Oh yeah,
Not a good thing.
That'll anti-age you, though.
Right. So,
Yeah.
and then the list keeps going and going and going. Eating
Didn't
soy
even
products.
mention alcohol.
Oh,
Yeah,
alcohol? Yeah, well, it
alcohol.
depends, because everything in life, with the exception of plutonium, cigarettes, and perhaps arsenic, at some level are actually salutary.
Yes.
So oxygen, too much is poisonous, too little is deadly.
Moderation, my friends.
Well, you have to get the right sweet spot. That's just the way our biological systems operate. So what do we need to do? We need to surround ourselves with the appropriate environment. So you want to get rid of what we used to call toxic environments. People will drag you down. There's certain people you'll associate with that'll just make you feel bad. What about things like actors and actresses? They can make themselves cry by thinking sad. All they have to do is make their facial expressions look like they're going to cry, and wouldn't you know what they do? You can't look happy and make yourself cry. A little something that's taught in acting school. So what's the association between facial expressions and the way your brain is wired? It's been studied. I'm not just pulling this thing out of a comic book. So if you have a frown, you start looking like you're worried or upset or unhappy, you will become unhappy chemically. The brain is set up that way. So the muscles of the face express what's going on in the brain, and the brain interprets what's going on by facial expressions. That is the best part about being able to adjust these things. So when you know, don't have a frown like Aunt Sally. Okay? Don't do it. You want to be smiling, even if you feel like hell. Affirmations are very important. You know, everybody says, hey, Doc, how are you feeling? Anybody who knows me, I feel like $1,000,000. If there were two of me, if I felt any better, there'd be two of me. Now, I can be feeling pretty bad physically, but that's the way I pull myself through.
But isn't there a thing called gravitational pull? Because I noticed in
Well, the gravity is something that
people tend to take pictures whenever you're not paying attention, and so I went through
you're right.
pictures of me this Christmas, and I was focused on cooking, doing stuff, so I'm not smiling, and so but then I have like this massive, like, I don't know, like the
They're called
frowny
jowls.
face,
Goatee
jowls, and
Yeah.
it's like me.
Well,
And
there's
I
certain,
look-
there's
and I'm
certain
like, but I wasn't feeling that way. I was happy. I just
not happy enough. Okay. So in
wow.
in dermatology, aesthetic dermatology or aesthetic medicine, regenerative medicine, there's certain factors that you can't overcome, but you can modulate, and gravity is one of them.
okay.
So gravity with regards to the facial drop, there are things you can fix, there are things that are hard to fix. Marionette lines is what you were describing. That's a line from the chin, the lips down to the chin.
All right.
Very hard to fill or to treat without fillers. But the fillers are highly problematic, and we're starting to see the long-term difficulties with those now.
Botox.
Botox is a toxin, and so that's helpful to actually increase the effect of gravity. So you do this in the forehead, and the Venetian blinds or the lateral blinds, whatever they're called here, they tend to ease out, but you're using gravity to look younger. So gravity isn't going to help your breast tissue either, okay? That, when things start looking like a roll of dimes in a tube sock, you know that gravity is responsible for this. But there are things that you can do. Okay,
analogies.
gotcha. Oh, I'm just trying
Oh
to see
my
if I can't
God,
get
that's
I
hysterical.
can't get a yuck out of Melissa here. So what happens is that we can look at these things and we can in fact influence them. And the very first thing you want to do is not age your skin unnecessarily. So cigarette smoking is one of those things that will age the skin. When I was at Duke surgery, what we were taught, okay, was you never did back surgery for pain alone in somebody who smoked. You didn't do it. North Carolina, okay, this is a big tobacco state. Let me clue you in. Duke was funded largely by tobacco. But what it does is it makes the small vessels, the small arterioles, constrict and cuts off blood flow to the skin and elsewhere, making it age, making it become less likely to heal.
Oh.
So your statistics went down. So their statistics for back surgery were more important than our sponsors at Duke. So good thing we don't have any tobacco sponsors here, or we would have lost them just then.
Yeah.
So the first thing you want to do is to quit the smoking. The second thing you want to do is to quit the sugar, which also ages the skin. It's the damnedest thing to see what sugar, fructose, candy does to the little glands in your skin. So when you were a child, they said, well, don't do that because you'll break out in acne. Well, you do. And in fact, you can have acne as an adult as the result of too much sugar. So we're taking away a couple things. We'll take away a few more, and then we're going to start telling you what you need to do.
Good.
Soybeans, soybean oil, something called soy lecithin. Sometimes it just says lecithin, so you have to read the labels.
Yeah,
Very hard
well,
thing to
someone
do.
just recommended lecithin
Lecithin?
for something.
I wouldn't have recommended for anything other than a soap.
No, is it is fatty? What is
Poison.
it?
It is poison. Why is no? Now, if it's sunflower lecithin, it's okay. But most lecithin is short for soya lecithin because it's the cheapest way to get it. So they use it in chocolate.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's European chocolate, in which case they won't use any soy lecithin because it's beneath human consumption.
Thank you.
But here we can do it because we're smarter than the Europeans.
Swiss chocolate.
Not in this case.
they know.
Right. But everything else, milk chocolate domestically, has soy lecithin in it.
Yeah.
So why do these things make a difference?
Because they make you fat. And
They make you fat. They
Mm-hmm.
trash the
mess with
thyroid, and there's a whole series of these neat little results. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over a few things that you can do, a few things that you should do. I would expect you to do after tonight's discussion, and that's not going to cost you anything. Go
Wow,
figure. Then we'll get
really?
into the stuff that will. How's
Really?
that?
The free stuff first?
Free stuff first.
I love it very much.
Well, we could do the
later.
free stuff last and keep them listening.
Wow, that's so tricky. Sugar is poison. That is correct. Lee is watching us on our Facebook Live feed. That is correct. Sugar is poison. Sugar bad. Worse than cocaine or
It's actually more addictive.
oh,
High
yeah.
fructose corn syrup, more addictive than cocaine.
it's very bad. We'll be right back.
This is the Connections Radio Network. It's Connections.
Oh, I waited so long to hear you say that. What does it mean? Is it dirty?
And that, ladies and gentlemen, answers the question, why do we drink?
It really doesn't answer the question, but it definitely is one of the
It
reasons.
begs the question.
It does, perhaps. Welcome back to Connections. Relationship radio with a twist. Tonight we're trying to figure out how to slow the aging process. Men and women, you'll definitely learn something here. So your tips, we talked about what to take away.
Yeah. First thing you want to take away is high fructose corn syrup or just sugar.
Okay, the sugar.
The second thing is soy.
Okay.
And then the third one, okay, which, I'm going to add in here early because Tess said I have to, is sunlight. Laying out in the sun. Okay, this is an entirely
Florida.
avoidable way to keep your skin from aging.
Yes.
Because it destroys the collagen and the chain links, the cross-linking.
But a little dabble to you, though, right?
A
We
little
need
dab is
some.
fine. You need some. You need some for the pineal gland so that it actually starts secreting properly and your biorhythms kick in. But going out there and baking in the sun, which is what so many people do, and here we are, we're in the sunshine state. So if you're from elsewhere, we still want to see you here. Just don't go out in the middle of the day, bake for a few hours, end up being sunburned, ruin your vacation, and you're going to think that, well, gee, that's the cost of doing business. But it increases your chances substantially, very substantially, of developing skin cancer. It will, with every minute you're out there, age your skin and increase your risk of melanoma. Well, what about I need my vitamin D? Clueless. Okay, you need vitamin D2 to convert to D3 and 10 minutes of sunshine to do it. That's all you need. So if you can't do it in 10 minutes, then you need D2. But it's the smart money, okay, buys vitamin D3. That's dog 3, cholecalciferol. And what this stuff is, it's exactly the hormone you want, called vitamin D. And you take 5,000 IUs a day, it cuts your risk. Oh, here we go. It cuts your risk of cancer, all sorts, in half. You don't think that's an anti-aging strategy? Well, I have an aunt who died at 52 of breast cancer. This would have reduced her risk in half. It reduces your risk of MS by 40%.
You okay
So-
over there?
Yes, I'm writing this down.
I know.
Sorry.
She's writing it down.
Yes,
you
I'm
can,
writing
you
it
can, You can hear it
down.
on the tape.
I know.
But still, I'm trying to help out
watch
our
the
listeners.
Podcast, Yeah,
Yeah, and
they're
then it starts to get into arcane sorts of things, stuff that you may not be able to do yourself, that may require somebody like me
Okay.
to help you with. And it's insulin levels. And you're going to go, what the heck is he talking about? I checked my A1C and my doctor says it's okay. Ask your doctor this question. What is hemoglobin A1C? Okay, and if they go, well, it's an indicator of, no, what is hemoglobin A1C? What is it? And if they can't tell you what it is, even though you want it below 5.5%, but we'll tolerate up to 7%, what is hemoglobin A1C? And why do you care? So if you've ever had flan, okay, if you've ever had caramelized anything, then you inherently know what hemoglobin A1C is. Glycosylated hemoglobin. So this is where the blood says, gee, there's too much sugar here. And it starts changing the nature of the hemoglobin. Okay, and that some of this is necessary. Some of it will happen. But when it starts hitting the side of the vessels, because now the red cells are stiffer, it results in atherosclerosis, which is the doctor word for hardening of the arteries.
Oh, now I got
So
it.
hemoglobin A1C. So as an anti-aging doctor, which I am, functional medicine doctor, which I am, okay, my goal is to get hemoglobin A1C under 5.5, not this 7.0, 6.8. If you watch the commercials on TV, it says, I got my hemoglobin A1C under 7, and I see failure. That is a failure, okay? If you have childhood diabetes, that might be the best you can do. Most people that are taking these medications are adult onset. And if you can't get your A1C under 6, you got a problem. If you can't get it under 6, if you can't get it under 5.8, okay, then you need some help. So what do we do? My goal, unstated goal, is to get it under 5, 4.8, 4.9. Why? Because little is better. That's not true of everything. Not true of everything. There's certain things have to have a certain range, otherwise you're going to get sick. Too much oxygen, you get sick. Too little, you die. Okay, and you die badly. You get confusion and whatnot. So what is a good place to be? You want your blood sugar to run between 75 and 85. And at this point, there are going to be people out there, he's wrong. I'm not wrong. If you think I'm wrong, then you're sadly mistaken. Anything over 85, your life expectancy decreases. And while they won't give you the diagnosis of diabetes, they won't necessarily sell you expensive or high-ticket life insurance either. You want your blood sugar under 85 because every milligram percent over 85, your expectation for life expectancy decreases progressively. Now, do you want that? And there's a hell no. So the blood sugar is the immediate indicator. Insulin is the leading indicator. So if you're a finance person, I think you're going to understand what I'm talking about. You want to see what happens before you start to react. This is how you plan financially. This is how you plan a war, is a leading indicator. Okay, that's how it's done. So insulin needs to be under 10. Most people run 15 to 24. That's considered normal if your doctor is smart enough to actually test for it. But under 10 is the sweet spot. If you can get under 5, you are golden. I've got these folks in their 80s and 90s where their insulin is under 5, and they are functioning better than many of my patients in their 40s and 50s. What's the data on that? 40,000 patients.
Okay,
That's enough data.
2 minutes to tell me what we add.
Fair enough. Okay, so what do we add to what we're doing to improve just easily? Let's just say a high-quality fish oil. What does it do? It reduces your risk of stroke and heart attack by 15%. The dosage is 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams of the omega-3s, EPA and DHA. This is not the junk that you buy at the big box stores. It just isn't going to work that way. You want a high-quality one because it pulls the proteins out, it doesn't stink, and you tolerate it better. A baby aspirin, 81 milligrams, also reduces your risk of heart attack and stroke. 2 things you can do for $20 a month. Easily done. What else do you want to do? So let's say you do have a problem with blood sugar. Let's say that you do have a problem with weight. There's several nutraceuticals that I use routinely. The first thing is a chelated mineral complex. Why? because insulin levels go up before the weight goes up, and so we use something called magic minerals. That's the pedestal. That's where you start. And to that, you add additional vanadium and chromium. The product is called Diabetstat. The dosage it varies with age, but the magic minerals is 2 in the morning, 2 in the evenings for most people.
You know,
The Diabetstat is 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening.
I've noticed that you have one with iron and one without.
We have a Down to Basics, which is my pedestal multivite with mineral. That's a general purpose bomb. What that stuff does is it hits all of the major shortcomings, but it's not enough for the minerals for people that are diabetic. Why the with iron and why without? Because iron constipates. So where and when do I use the one with iron? Heavily menstruating females.
It makes sense.
Yeah, or if you have other people that are anemic. If you take care of things generally, I mean, anemia in my practice is extraordinarily rare in folks that don't have cancer. And we see cancer patients all the time. So anemia is rare. If your nutrition is doing well, my doctor says that I'm anemic and they're giving me ferrous sulfate. There's somebody that doesn't know what's going on because it's not necessarily a shortage of iron. It's what the body is doing with it. Okay, so we have a little bit more time. So where are we? Fish oil, minerals, Diabetstat, which is actually more vanadium and chromium, frankly. Okay, so with that start, you're doing pretty well. Berberine lowers triglycerides. Now you're going to, what are triglycerides? People focus on cholesterol, when in fact, when cholesterol goes up, it's almost always a thyroid issue. Hypothyroidism, low thyroid, cholesterol goes up. So what do? So we're going to deal with something called berberine, which is a natural medication. It's an herb, and it lowers triglycerides, lowers blood sugar, lowers insulin, and reduces your risk of cancer. What else? I mean, that sounds like a reasonable thing to take, and it's not that expensive. What you take one twice a day. What else do we do? Quercetin. What else do we do? Inositol.
Oh, inositol.
Inositol and olive leaf extract. These herbs and vitamins. Inositol is a B vitamin that most people have never heard of. Will give you more energy. It'll help you kick habits like smoking, alcohol, cocaine. Look up in PubMed, National Library of Medicine. Look, cocaine addiction space plus inositol. See what you find. Do the same thing and then N-acetylcysteine. You'll find that it's helpful for obsessive diseases like certain types of addictions.
What about creams and lotions?
Oh,
we should probably take a break before we get into
that's going to be that'll be the wind up.
The piece de resistance. Yeah, because so many of those things are BS.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it.
They're good things, but they're bad things. And I
Yeah.
want you to consider before we go to break, okay, a painting. Okay, so when I was a kid, I come from a family of artists. I learned how to stretch a canvas when I was 6. You prepare a canvas, you stretch it, then you put a base coat on before you start painting. Unfortunately, with aesthetics, many of these times they start painting before they prepare the canvas.
Must prepare the canvas.
Prepare the canvas.
How about that? And we're going to talk about how to get your canvas not looking so rough and rugged when we come back. It's Connections Relationship Radio with a twist.
This is Connections. Connections is Relationship Radio.
This is Linda Nunez, and you're listening to Connections.
Welcome back. We got a lot of questions about things we should be taking to not age so quickly. Ellie is checking us. What about taking 500 milligrams of metformin and
levothyroxine.
Yeah.
Okay, you got it half.
Thyroid.
You got it half right.
Levothyroxine.
Half right.
Hey, it took me 5 years to figure out how to say amlodipine.
Amlodipine.
Still didn't get it
Still
right.
don't get it. Okay. I was trying to keep to non-prescription items because most of the people listening in, or many of them anyway, I suspect most, are not patients of mine. All right? So it doesn't do you a lot of good to hear about prescription medications, but metformin is one of my most favorite medications, but it's also one of the best anti-aging medicines that there is. What metformin does is it improves the sensitivity of the cell to insulin, thereby lowering insulin levels. And it does it effectively and cheaply. Very inexpensive stuff. The downside to it is that it causes nausea and diarrhea, which, by the way, is not necessarily a bad thing because it's temporary. Just as I can tell my patients, here's what we're going to do. And I use a ton of metformin in my practice. Just about everybody that comes in that needs these things, I start with metformin or introduce it soon enough because it's given away for free at Publix. Free. Okay. I can't tell you that we don't have anything in the office that's cheaper than that. So we start with the stuff that's inexpensive. And while you're there, you can get your flu shot. They give you a $10 gift certificate for a pub sub. And if you're from outside of this region, you don't know what this is. Okay, but people flock to Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the sunshine, the low tax, and pub subs.
Oh, especially whenever their chicken tender subs are on sale. Forget it. You have to order online.
No, people in
early,
people in New York
morning.
think they have cuisine. Oh well, you can do anything you want to at any time of the day. Therefore, New York is good. Where I grew up, if you're not asleep by 10 o'clock, you're doing something inherently wrong. Okay, why? Because a lot of your best work is done between 5 in the morning and 9 in the morning, while the folks from up in New York are still sleeping in.
Right.
All righty. So what do we do here? Okay, in the South, we kind of look for the most productive times of the day to work, and that's morning. That's just the way that it works. That's when your body is ramping up. That's when cortisol starts to rise. That's when you need to. So even the roosters know when it's time to get up. Sun comes up, that's when you get up. And the day starts.
There you
Sun
go.
goes down, that's kind of when you need to.
Now, would you suggest that, because we ran into this whenever Shrek started taking metformin many moons ago.
That's your husband.
Yes, my husband. That he was having diarrhea like all the time. Like
Yes.
it didn't quit. And then we found out that he was on too high of a dose.
What happens? Yeah. No
Okay.
kidding. Yeah.
Just to let people know that out there that
It
are like,
can
oh no,
happen.
I've been on it for like 2 weeks and I still got diarrhea. But
Yeah. Well, if you
Yeah.
take
Call your
too much,
doctor.
it's a problem. Just call them
call
up.
your doctor. I mean,
So-
if you're having a problem like that.
Usually what I do is I start people off on 500 milligrams twice a day. Now, there are patients that will find that to be too much. So you do something magical. You break the tablet in half. Take it twice a day. This is
what?
a rough one.
That's
That's how you do
Come
it.
on.
Oh, yeah. The pharmacists hate this, but that's what you do. You break it in half. Well, how do you know if they're both the same size? Because it doesn't matter.
Stop.
Biological systems are plus or minus 15%. Okay? You don't have to measure it within 3%. In fact, most of the pills that your pharmacy is selling, okay, is somewhere between 8 and 15% off the label. That is what you're allowed to do.
Wow.
So I need you to talk about lotions and creams before
Lotions.
it gets away from us.
Okay, so what do we want to do? So we want to
Put
prepare the
lotion in
canvas.
the basket.
Yes, we want to prepare the canvas first.
Okay.
So this means get your nutrition right, get sugar out of your diet, or you are wasting your money. So I have people that come in. I want to get filler. I want to get Botox. If they're not taking the hormones the way they need to be, and they don't balance that properly, you're just gonna look funny. And there are lots of people out there with duck lips that know what it's like to look funny. If you don't prepare the canvas and you just start looking for fillers and toxins, you are going to look weird. So the trick is to look like a young 50-year-old or a young 40-year-old. Or like me, where I'm 66. People they think I'm still in high school.
Yeah.
I still get
Okay,
carded.
they don't think you're still
They
in
don't.
high school.
Okay, however.
College.
Okay,
Maybe.
so the lotions, what do? Are they worthwhile? And there are many that are. If you learn how to use them properly and you buy a good, at least a decent quality to a good or excellent one. There's certain products that contain hyaluronic acid. Now, I like taking hyaluronic acid as a syrup because I'm a cheap guy and I'm also a guy. Guys don't like putting lotions on. They just typically don't. There are people out there that do, and sometimes I worry about them. So the lotions for guys, no, you take the stuff orally, with the exception perhaps of retinoic acid. Okay, so tretinoic acid and whatnot, because those things are marvelous to tighten the skin up. Do they work? And the answer is yes. Do you have to stay out of the sun with them? Yes, unless you want to get burned. So you learn to respect these things because they're not out there for no reason. There are certain whiteners that are technically bleaches for the skin. So if you have,
we're not allowed to talk about whiteners anymore.
is that right?
That's
Why not?
racist.
Oh, is it? Okay.
They're pulling them off the shelves.
Okay, they're anti-darkeners. Okay, and so what happens is you end up with melasma. You end up with these dark splotches. You don't look that good. I've got one right here, And so you put the stuff on, and it tends to lighten it up. You want your skin to be the same consistency. You can get into certain skin lotions that will improve just the cleanliness of it. You want to clean and scrub the pores. You want to open them up. You want the pores to drain outward rather than become cysts.
Before you use the lotions and stuff.
You want to do this anyway.
Exfoliate it.
So there's a trick to this, and that's to find yourself a good esthetician. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, these are technicians. Sometimes they're nurses, sometimes they're PAs, sometimes they're just whoever they happen to be. And they will walk you through what you need to do. So you can go to a place called Sephora. They will talk you through things like cosmetics. But in order to figure out what you really need to do for the skin, you need to go to a dermatologic aesthetics practice or something like with what we have, which is an anti-aging practice.
You do?
We do it.
Information at stagesoflifemedicalinstitute.com. Yes.
What about your cream? What about this?
Oh, About Face. Okay,
Oh,
yeah. About Face is a progesterone cream. Now, what I did with that one, which is actually kind of cool, is you use it topically to knock wrinkles out of the face. So it makes you look younger, and it works quickly. But, okay, it's not a substitute for fixing what's underneath. So the real place that I use that is in hands and feet. So women come and they go, I don't like my hands. I said, what do you want me to do? Cut them off? Make them look younger. Okay, well, it's wickedly expensive to do the procedures on the hands. It's expensive enough on the face, okay? But to do the hands and feet, it gets out of people's price range. So for $40, use the About Face on the skin on the dorsum, that's the top of the foot and top of the hands, and it starts making them look more youthful.
I know at one time, because we only have a few seconds left, that you mentioned about the Kink Ease. Do you use
Kink
it on
Ease
your
does
face?
the same thing. Kink Ease, Kinkeasc, is an exfoliant, but it's also a pain cream I invented almost 20 years ago, and it is marvelous for this purpose.
Shrek
Find these
loves it.
products at stagesoflifevitamins.com. Dr. David Klein, smartest man in the room. Always.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, stay young, my friends. Lizzie!
Good night.
We love you, baby. Hey, we love you guys too. Thanks for listening. See you later.
Rock on.
Laughing time is over.
There you have it, boys. Case closed.
You've been listening to Connections. Find tonight's show and replays of our past shows on ConnectionsShow.com.
If you're trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life.